quite the crowd in here. A lot of focus, of course, will be the president's comments on his plan and his words to tackle a crime rate here in D.C. that he believes is unacceptable. Murders, carjackings, robberies. We have seen all sorts of crimes in D.C. since the pandemic. While numbers appear to peak in 2023, we have seen a dip, but the president still believes that the crime in the district, the nation's capital, is still unacceptable. What do we expect to hear from the president today? One will be whether or not the National Guard will actually be deployed on the streets of D.C. Fox hearing up to 1,000 National Guard officials, troops will be made available, but whether that number holds or if it's rolled out all at once is yet to be seen. Over the weekend, we saw a number of federal law enforcement agencies, ICE, CBP, FBI, ATF, out on the streets with DC Metro Police, also looking into what's happening on a daily basis. Just over the weekend in Navy Yard, it's a beautiful part of DC, right near where the Washington Nationals play. We saw a fight break out, lots of teenagers, gunshots, and from that, we also saw the city impose a juvenile curfew because so much of the focus data has been on the younger offenders in the district and whether or not the penalties have been too light for those people, 14, 15, 16, who may be committing crimes. I remember we saw a number of carjackings from the last 2 years or so where it was shocking to find out that it would be a 14 or 15-year-old that would rob somebody at gunpoint and, of course, take off with the vehicle as well. We know that the new U.S. Attorney for D.C. has also been urging the City Council to come in and stiffen some of those penalties. But one of the biggest questions also will be about whether or not the president will have such authority to do what he's likely to unveil here. The White House already giving out a fact sheet of what they say is some of the arrests that were made over the weekend with the help of additional federal law enforcement sources. But one of the other questions would be whether or not we see Congress try to rein in some of DC's self-governing authority that dates back several decades. It's something that Republicans up on the Hill have talked about for a long time, but may not have had the votes to do just that. D.C. has a Democratic mayor, Muriel Bowser, who had been critical of Trump in the past, especially after what happened in early 2021. But since then, they seem to have found somewhat of a working relationship. She was on another network over the weekend in which she said that the president would be in his authority to send the National Guard out to help with D.C. police, to help with law enforcement. But we've also heard from other D.C. officials, including the sole delegate of D.C. up on Capitol Hill, who believes she does not believe the president has such authority. So obviously the focus will be on what the president is able to implement, what kind of time frame he's looking at. The White House putting out this fact sheet, basically comparing the murder rate of D.C. to other world capitals, looking at Colombia, looking at London, and whether or not those numbers would be acceptable. There's been a lot of talk also about crime this year compared to years past. D.C. police, as well as the mayor's office, has been trying to point that crime is still down from what they saw just a few years ago, but crime before the pandemic still a major issue. And like we talked about the incidents over the weekend, it is still everywhere, whether you're even just leaving the White House, going up in the National Mall area, 8th Street corridor. If you've been to D.C., there is a lot of this area that is absolutely still under concern for D.C. police. There's also been a question about resources, how many officers left the force after the pandemic. Dana, we'll see if the president weighs in on this, as well as his upcoming summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday. Dana.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, no pressure.
So this right here is going to be
Next.
Do it, Kim.
This is what you train for. Now it's
I'll watch it.
Says that you can go there.
Like your time.
Yeah.
So for those tuning in, this right here is this is a pretty big ordeal that's going on right now. Let me put my camera over here.
Hi there, Anna. Good morning. Well, good morning from a very packed briefing room here. And as you mentioned, the President, a lot of questions for him about how this deployment of the National Guard might be undertaken. As you said, the administration already deploying 500 federal officers over the weekend and just handing out a fact sheet detailing some of the arrests that they made. But according to data, crime in the district.
Okay, so hopefully, hey, let me know if the volume is too loud, if it needs to be turned down, or if it's good. So I was talking to some people about this yesterday. This is a very, very big deal right now. They are doing a sweep through Washington, D.C. Let me, in the meantime, we'll put it right there. And
from the president, preparations are underway. High stakes meetings between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin major on it right now. President Zelensky invited to that summit on Friday in Alaska. And what types of
sound at?
might the Russians be prepared to undertake? The president suggesting that Ukraine might have to seize some territory. Of course, that is not be willing to do. So that, along with many other questions, and also reaction.
All right, so I'm going to turn it down for right now. We're going to talk about this and actually the implications of this right here. All right, so yesterday, President Trump, I'm going to go and WTPnews.org. Stand by. Hey, is my volume all right? Hold on. I'm pulling up this article. Okay. So, yes, 23 hours ago, it's posted on Truth on his social network. We're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. Oh. All right. We're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our Capitol safer and more beautiful than it ever was before. The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no Mr. Nice Guy. We want our capital back. Thank you for your attention to this matter. All right. Let's see. Hey, Charlene, how you doing? So, well, hold on. Mic check, mic check. All right. I heard myself that time. Okay, so let's get back to it. Right? So this is the concerning thing. I've been in Washington, D.C., okay, the last couple of weeks. And people come to D.C. to redress their grievances with their government. There's a lot of activism that goes on down there. There's a lot of people that are standing for their causes down there. And you can't tell me for 1 second that there's not going to be a bunch of people that are going to push back on, I mean, the saying not, let's see, we'll give you a place to stay, but far from the Capitol. Well, what's far from the Capitol? And what are the places to stay? The criminals. You don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. Well, who decides who are criminals? Because I would venture to say that over the last couple of weeks, the way that I've been a thorn in the side of the Department of Justice and shown that they've been complicit and refusing, like literally swatting me away like a fly. I would venture to say that they would love to group me into that category of criminal. So the latest news is the National Guard has already started coming out in Washington, D.C. There are additional troops that are there. President Trump has made statements to the fact that the Fed is operating. It's the Fed's not doing their job. But he's basically ready to take over the Fed. And if that happens, so DC is actually, we've got 50 states in the United States. Washington, D.C. is not one of the 50 states. It's its own district. It's its own, basically, it's separate of the United States of America, the 50 states of the United States of America. It's an additional district. And this would be basically taking control of Washington, D.C., and taking over the Federal Reserve, which I believe, we'll have to see what happens. But don't be surprised if the dollar doesn't crash and we go to gold, silver, and cryptocurrency as a currency. I really honestly I feel like there's a transition going to cryptocurrency at this point. So we're waiting on the president to speak right now. Those that are tuning in, please hit that like button. Please share this live stream so other people can watch. If they're not watching this live on TV, watch it here on YouTube. I've got Forbes breaking news shared. This is live right now. And we're going to see here momentarily what the president has to say. I'm going to go ahead and post right here in the comments. Yeah, hit that like button. I just posted the StreamYard link. If anybody wants to get on here and actually have a discussion after Trump speaks, because it should be any minute now, you've got the link right here in the chat for you to come on stage, for you to go to the back room, and we can have a chat on stage about everything. On, I need to be putting these comments up here. Good comments coming out in the stream right now. Let me go back up to the top so I can start showing them. Actually, we're going to show them on stage. There we go. Now we're caught up. Shoot. My bad. I was over there thinking y'all were still watching the YouTube video, and I did not have it on the right tab. I am so glad that didn't happen when the president was speaking. Holy shit. I want to show y'all something in the meantime while we're waiting on the president to speak. Let's see. Right now, I've got this set to members only. I'll let you see it on this live stream. And I am keeping a watch out on the White House, like as far as Trump speaking. Got that playing in one ear.
Yeah. Yo, they told me sit down, but I pulled the chair. Told them I'm the wrong one to frame, I swear. Back in 2017, they drew first blood. Called it stalking, fabricated mud. No mayor involved, just a target on me. Cause I spoke too loud in the land of the free. Oxford, Mississippi, deep in that game. Twisting laws like ropes, tying up my name. Sesam's on the move, McCutcheon in the mix. All eyes on me when I'm speaking in clicks. Took the plea, forced hand, family to protect. But they kept on pushing, disrespect on deck. Jeff Busby smirking, court door closed. I ask about judges, the whole scene froze. Joey East waiting outside like a plot. Civil written hand, another twisted shot. Next day script, commitment by lies. Alcorn's affidavit, didn't even try. No eval, no call, no care, no proof, just got me locked while they celebrated truth. Little signed the order like it was nothing. Didn't blink once, just rubber stamp bluffing. Thrown into below, padded cell in sight. North Miss State Hospital, taking my rights. I walked out different, but I ain't done. Called Alcorn direct, put truth on run. She told me the sheriff asked her to file, so I dropped a grievance that traveled a mile. Sent it to Rogers, to Little, to court. Within 24 hours, they struck with force. Second affidavit, same play, more dirt. This time I'm snatched while my wife's still hurt. Just came from the ER, baby's lungs too weak. They taking me down while my newborn speaks. Solitary box, 7 days in the pit. Then the East Miss, more meds, same shit. I missed my son's birth for a false claim trick. Still they say it's justice, that narrative's sick. Bob Norman from the DOJ said he passed the flame, then ghosted my fight like it wasn't his name. June 22, filmed a visit in peace. City Hall walked through, no cause, no beef. They claimed I put knobs, fabricated threats. NBI's Monty said arrest him yet. Tweets uses weapons, free speech on trial. While my baby's in Memphis, breathing fragile. Driscoll withdrew, McClinton installed. Judge shuffled case numbers, whole thing stalled. 5-hour hearing, no win, just bait. I pled again just to walk through the gate. Fast forward time, I leave that land. Utah skies, but they still got plans. Layton PD, getting word from afar. Oxford sending smoke like an unmarked car. Sesam's breached every boundary line. Found my box like a fed up spy. Richard's fired off. Defamation mail, 139 names like a network trail. Grammar request blocked, stonewalled by Arrington. Call him on March 28th. Now the panic begins. Petro City silent, but the files don't lie. They knew my address, nobody told them why. I showed up at the FBI, docs in hand. Salt Lake City, tried to take a stand. They wanted ID just to take my word. Said no, they got hot, they made it absurd. Kicked me off the public lot, wrote down my tag. All while I'm live, letting truth unbag. Filed my lawsuit in district court. Laid every fact like a final report. Named Sessoms, McCutcheon, and Joey too. With Alcorn Little, the whole damn crew.
I'm off camera. Yeah, I could check my test.
All kinds of personalities down there.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Is that better? Oh, yeah.
Hey, Anna. Anna. I came with nothing but two little girls, Anna Claire and McKenna Rose. My whole world hoped maybe she'd want a chance to try to be the grandma she never was through their eyes. But her welcome within by the second night, no warmth, no grace, no flicker of light. She didn't say goodbye, just opened the door like loving a son was a civil chore. And when I said I don't know if I can survive this fall, she didn't lean in, she just made the call. She called the state on my pain, like I was a danger, not a dad in the rain. Didn't ask how the girls were sleeping, didn't wonder what soul I was keeping. She cut it short like it meant nothing, like love was weight she wasn't touching. Said nothing and dialed away, that's how she chose to keep us safe. She called the state. She never rocked them, never knew their laughs, didn't care for birthdays or their little crafts. Saw them as shadows of mistakes I made, like their lives were part of the price I paid. But I gave her the chance, one real chance, to hold what's good in a world gone mad, to help me stand as I tried to be the father I never had. And when I broke, when I bled my truth, she reached for judgment, not for proof.
Do it. You need to climb up. Well, you can
She
go up
called
right
the state on my cry, like asking for help was crossing a line. Didn't see the strength in being raw, didn't care to understand it all. She chose fear over faith in her own, chose silence when I was most alone. Didn't check, didn't ask, didn't wait. She just picked up the phone and called the state. Some others build bridges, some just escape. Mine built a file and sealed my fate. No goodbye, no second take, just the sound of a heart about to break. She called the state on her son and ended what barely had begun. Not with a word, not with grace, just the quiet sound of being erased. No love, no trust, no clean slate, just a whisper
fixing to go to the movies.
down the line. She
You ever gone to the movies?
called the state.
No? Who you going to the
She
movies
didn't
with?
save me.
Gigi, McKenna, and you?
Gigi,
She
McKenna,
called
and
the
me.
state.
I don't think I'm going.
Aw.
You're going with Gigi.
And we're gonna have Pisces and
So we're waiting on the president to speak. He's going to be coming out any moment now. The staff has come out. There he is.
Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes to our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, when you take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000. Number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. That where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the DOJ staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person, waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. The Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police. As the police are standing up there in uniform, they're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, for 3-4 years. I've watched them. The police are standing, and they're told, don't do anything under any such, so this, and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central: no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get, think of this, probably won't get one Democrat vote because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody transgender. And they just got walloped in an election, in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day the certain gentleman who was very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were going to say, we only have 30 policemen or women. He said, we have 3,500. We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army. How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, zero illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to take years because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a 1/4 of an inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him, most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the streets. You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed. By the way, we're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, "Oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in." It's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the DC streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. But we're rougher and tougher. Look at these people here. Nothing, you know. They're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's Interior, but he's in charge of the U.S. Park Police. And I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time. Their families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the U.S. Park Police, this is the oldest federal police force in the nation. They were formed in 1791 by none other than President George Washington. They've got the awesome responsibility of protecting our nation's most sacred monuments. The National Mall, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Statue of Liberty, and out west, the Presidio and the Golden Gate area. These folks have tens of millions of visitors a year, the kind of people that President Trump's talking about that come from around the country and around the world to see our sacred and learn about our history and our sacred monuments. They've been doing a fantastic job, but they are so pleased, the rank and file, that President Trump is now allowing them to enforce the law. As those of you that live in the city may know, that the circles and the triangle parks that are spread throughout DC are actually federal park property. So the U.S. Park Police also have responsibility for that. These became littered with homeless camps under the Biden administration. All of you saw that. Since President Trump's executive order on March 27th, making DC safe and beautiful again, the U.S. Park Police have removed over 70 homeless camps. And President Trump also talked about beautification. They're stopping and enforcing the laws against graffiti on our monuments. They've removed over 80 specific attacks against our history with graffiti on our monuments. So they continue to do a great job, whether it's in their vehicles, on foot, or on the mounted police that you see around the National Mall. And President Trump, they thank you. The rank and file is so happy to be enforcing the law again. Thank you for your leadership. And they're excited about the announcement you're making today.
Thank you. Very good. Great job you did. Thank you very much. Pete, could you say something about the military, if you would?
Well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning, we've mobilized the DC National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the DC Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the president noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own. And we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles, we did the same thing, working with the California National Guard, working with ICE officers. ICE officers deserve to do their job and not be attacked. We will work alongside all DC police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city is safe, this city is beautiful. And as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is, we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong. We're right behind you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm going to ask Pam, because she's now, as you heard me say, she's really in charge of a lot of what we're talking about. She's done an incredible job. People are going to start to see the fruits of her labor. And Pam, maybe you could say a few words about what we're talking about here.
Sure, President. Let me be crystal clear. Crime in DC is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery. DC should be a place where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on. As the president said, Terry Cole is going to be supervising the Metro Police Department. Gadi Serralta, our U.S. Marshal, is going to be supervising command and control, the entire operation. Our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and I will be working with them closely, along with our great FBI Director, Kash Patel. Kash is going to talk to you in a minute about what we did in Virginia recently with Governor Youngkin. Many of you covered that, and it was tremendously successful. Not only that, our secret weapon here in D.C. is U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, one of the toughest prosecutors and a former judge, and she is going to be talking about juvenile crime, how it's out of control here, and what she's going to do to fight back. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that. No more drive-bys. We're going to do everything we can. And working with the ATF Director Driscoll and Commander of the Army, we're going to all work together. That's what we all do in this room. We work together. We fight. Do not underestimate one person in this room. We're going to make DC beautiful. We're going to make DC safe again. One other thing, just at the wharf a few days ago, the area of the wharf, Terry Cole reached out to me, not even nightfall, on the weekend, where so many families in tourists go. A guy's overdosing from fentanyl on a park bench in the middle of families around. They administer Narcan and saved his life. No more of that. The President of the United States is going to clean up DC, and we're going to be there to help him, and we're going to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Cash, talk about Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia, we had a big success.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for your leadership, Deputy Attorney General, and the rest of our interagency partners. Mr. President, the following is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And I just want to highlight that before I get into Northern Virginia. This year alone, under President Trump's administration, we've had over 4,000 child victims identified and found. That's a 33% increase from the same time period last year. 33% increase. We've had a seizure of 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl up to this date. That is a 25% increase since the same time period last year. And just to put it in perspective, 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administrations, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership at the Attorney General with Pam Bondi, your administration's priority of protecting the homeland and protecting American citizens and protecting our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities. And how do we do it? And what are we going to bring to D.C.? What we did in Northern Virginia, thanks to Terry Cole and Governor Youngkin and the team, we stood up a task force out in my Northern Virginia field office, and we said, let's let good cops be cops. Let's get them the intelligence and what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions. And that's exactly what we did. In 1 month, we arrested 545 violent felons, 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. And that simplicity in law enforcement is what's coming to Washington, D.C. When you let good cops be cops, when you give them the intel they need, when you work with our Homeland Security Task Force, when you work with Terry and Gadi and I go way back to Miami, these guys are great leaders of the respective departments and law enforcement capacities. And when you have the DOJ and President Trump driving behind this mission, we are going to clean up Washington, D.C., and we're going to do it the right way, the lawful way, and we're going to make sure Washington, D.C. is safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cash. So the process begins right now. It actually started over the weekend. We confronted a lot of very bad people, but it's going to be something that will be pretty amazing to you as you watch it. And I think most of you say it's a beautiful thing to do it right. We're going to be removing homeless encampments from all over our parks, our beautiful, beautiful parks, which now a lot of people can't walk on. They're very dirty, got a lot of problems. But we've already started that. We're moving the encampments away, trying to take care of people. Some of those people, we don't know how they even got there. Some of those people are from different countries, different parts of the world. Nobody knows who they are. They have no idea, but they're there. We're getting rid of the people from underpasses and public spaces from all over the city. There are many places that they can go, and we're going to help them as much as you can help. But they'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. The Metropolitan Police Department and the federal authorities will be supported in the effort, a really big effort, the 800 DC National Guardsmen that we'll put on, and much more if necessary, much more. You remember I said, I offered 10,000 once. Remember I said to a certain person who I thought always was highly overrated, not very competent. But I said, if you need them, we'll give you 10,000 of the military or the National Guard. They turned me down. But if necessary, we're going to move service members directly to joining the Guardsmen. And that'll take place very rapidly, and that'll be done in conjunction with Pam and with Pete and everybody else. Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful cities anywhere in the world. And we're going to make it that. We're going to make it safe. We're going to make it smart. We're going to make it beautiful, so beautiful. Some of the buildings, we're going to add to it. You see what we've done at the White House. White House is a whole different building. I do that in my part-time because it's a natural instinct as a real estate person. I was very good at that, and I was very good at fixing things up. I like fixing things up. You see what's happening. The marble floors are being reinstalled, renovated, fixed. The whole place is becoming very beautiful. We're going to be adding a magnificent ballroom, most beautiful ballroom, I think, anywhere. We need it. I would have certainly loved to have had it today. I think we would have filled it up. A lot of you are standing outside, can't get in this room. I've never seen the room like this, which tells me that you want to talk about, I mean, this was a DC news conference. It tells me that you want to talk about crime in DC and beautification of DC, but I'm going to put that's easy. And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester, and she became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into show business because she was such a good DA and such a good judge, tough judge, but fair, always fair. Nobody ever complained about that, but she was tough. And because of that and her reputation, she went into show business. So a lot of people don't, they think of Jeanine as show business. Actually, show business was not her thing. And she did great. She was on, along with a couple of other of my friends, on the #1 show. And she did great, but this is what she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to speak for just a few seconds on what she has in mind, what she wants to do. We're going to be appointing some judges. We have some open spots, and we're going to take people because the judges are letting killers out. They just say, go, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So we're putting some Pam recommended, Todd recommended, some judges that are great. Jeanine recommended. Jeanine's given me 3 great candidates already. We have about 10 open spots, and we could probably create some more. We need them. Jeanine, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my partners here. We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here. We want to be able to come and enjoy the history that makes this place great. And unfortunately, We are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the DC Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens. And it starts today. But it's not going to end today because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you. And my final note is this. These kids understand that the jurisdiction is through the state attorney general, Brian Schwab. I did a poster of the young man from Doge who was beaten bloody with a severe concussion, a broken nose. And then I did a poster of what happens to those kids because I can't arrest them. I can't prosecute them. They go to family court and they get to do yoga and arts and crafts. Enough. It changes today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
Great job. Thank you. If I could, I just signed some executive orders. I'd like to have Will please come up and we'll let the people know what we signed. Do you want to put them down?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
A short while ago in the Oval Office, President Trump signed two crucial executive actions to deal with the emergency crime conditions we currently face in the District of Columbia. The first of these was an executive order, as President Trump said before, invoking his powers under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act to take federal control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Along with that executive order, President Trump signed the statutorily required notification letters to Mayor Bowser and to the relevant House and Senate committee leaders. The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in D.C. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well. These are bold, decisive steps intended to combat the out-of-control crime conditions we've seen on D.C. streets for far too long. And I, for one, am deeply proud to be part of an administration that's finally coming to terms with these issues, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you. So just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. The radical left got out of control and they started trying to rip down statues. And I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast. But we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. In other words, slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years. No curtailed sentence, 10 years. And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because, it's harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, Pam. I think he was pretty good. When the ropes started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others, and they were heading to the Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson. They're going to do a big number there. I said, it's time. And I signed that statute immediately. We had it updated. We made it use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you so much as touch a statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson, and there were 2 ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope, but everybody just left. And that was the last problem we ever had. That was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild. And somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you an exact, because you'll say, Donald Trump gave us wrong dates around like early on. If I'm slightly off, they make you sound a little bad. So I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position, because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march down. They started the march toward Thomas Jefferson. And I figured he was always going to be safe. But they found something with him, and they found something with Abraham Lincoln. And even in the name George Washington in California, numerous places changed the name of George Washington High School and various other places. They took George Washington's name. This was a sick, woke culture that I think we've largely ended. And a lot of those people that were woke are now turning out to be the opposite. I won't go so far as to say MAGA. It's a very special category, but they've gotten out of that. But we have people that love this country, and they love this really beautiful capital. It is. I flew over it the other day, and I said, what a beautiful place. But if there's crime all over the streets, when you get there, it doesn't look so beautiful. But we're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to fix it with crime, and we're going to also, as we're doing that, we're going to start doing things that we know how to do, that I know how to do better than anybody, I guess, because of my experience from previous life. But not only are we stopping the crime, we're going to clean up the trash and the graffiti and the grime and the dirt and the broken marble panels and all of the things they've done to hurt this city. And we're going to restore the city back to the gleaming capital that everybody wants it to be. It's going to be something very special. All of these people are really tough. Could I shake your hand, Gaddy, please? You're going to be so important here. You're going to be that guy. I hope I don't have to fire him in 2 weeks because he's too soft. I don't think he's too soft. If I do, I will, though. Is it okay if you're soft, weak, and pathetic, like so many people? I will fire you so fast. You're not going to have to worry about that. No, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. And everybody in this room, they may not express it, but they all want that to happen. They want to be safe, and they have families too. So it's an honor to have such a large group. I've done this for years now, hard to believe. I've never seen this room so packed. In fact, I'm sure it's a violation of every fire code. But we'll let you stay anyway. You're taking a chance. And with that, we'll say, maybe if you could, oh, wow. We could be here all day long. If we could keep the first questions perhaps to this subject, and then we'll go on to a few others. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Can you talk about how personal of an issue this is? We talked about flying over the Washington Monument and seeing the pride of what DC is. And do you believe that the status of the city, the cleanliness, the way that crime is low, is a direct reflection on how the country is run?
Yeah, I do. I think the Capitol, look, everyone comes here. They're all coming. All the leaders, they're all wanting to come. And I say it, I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But I was a month and a half ago, I was at NATO. We had a great thing. They agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay, 5% is already paid. We had a great meeting, and they all said the same thing. They said our country was dead. They thought our country was gone. 1 year ago, they said your country was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world right now. The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies. We solved 5 wars with Pakistan and India. We just solved one. Azerbaijan and, as you know, and Armenia. A war was raging for 37 years. And the 2 leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done and got it done. And I said to the 2 men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. You know, they've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years. One was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war. And you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million people killed that they know of, but it was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them done. It's a great honor. But you want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents that the war is over or whatever, or for other reasons. They come for trade. And you want them to come through so beautifully. You ride down those roads, everything should be perfect. You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, you know, the metal things that are always, somebody had a great lobbyist, because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little, right? They're always broken and bad, but here they're really bad. And we're going to either put new or fix it. And it's not expensive. It's not really expensive. And we're going to fix our roads a little bit. We're going to clean up our sidewalks. You have countries where every Saturday, the people go out and they wash their sidewalks in front of their stores or their houses. They scrub their sidewalks. So we aren't quite at that level yet. I don't think, Gaddy, we're not quite there yet, but maybe we will. They go out and they scrub. I think it's so beautiful to hear that and to see those stories. But we're going to make it clean. But just to finish with your question, it's a very, very strong reflection of our country. And when they see a bad city, you know, my father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart. And he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in. Because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also. Same thing with the Capitol. If our Capitol's dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us. So it's a very good question.
Mr. President, sorry. Question for you on the specific issue. Do you expect more cities to follow DC's path if this goes through? So the idea is that Chicago, LA, San Francisco, would they expect similar action what we've seen in DC? Any other questions, sir? There's reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but you know, somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it. Some people hate it. Some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, the subject of marijuana. I've heard great things having to do with medical, and I've had bad things having to do with just about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, I've heard some pretty good things. But for other things, I've heard some pretty bad things. The other part of your question, I mean, we're just going to see what happens with it all. We're going to have a tremendous success in what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll clean up, and maybe they'll do this and get rid of the cashless bail thing and all of the things that caused the problem. I mean, If you go back, this whole thing with cashless bail is a disaster. So many problems came that we never had before. So they're watching us today. And if they don't learn their lesson, if they haven't studied us properly, because we're going to be very successful. I have zero doubt about that. It's going to be, it's a question of will it be really fast, like the border. You know, everyone said, they used to say, Biden used to say, I need legislation. I didn't get any legislation. I called up our people and we did a great job. Tom Homan was great. As you know, our secretary did a great job. They did a great job. There's no games. They didn't play games. And we're going to have the same thing here. But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And we have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You know, you never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business. But when I look at Chicago and I look at LA, if we didn't go to LA 3 months ago, LA would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If you would have allowed the water to come down, which I told them about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems. Let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it. We have it coming down. But hopefully LA is watching. That mayor also. The city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there. And I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. It was, their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing, like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered, almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately, Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding the homes then and there. And the mayor said, we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years. Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately, 2 years. And she roared back, well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about putting, this is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get. And it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry. And now, you know, they had tremendous, they loved that area. They loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it. It was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff. And some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods was incredible. And you know what? I watched people on television, they want to go, they want to leave. They've lost their spirit, they've lost their heart because the mayor's incompetent. And Gavin Newsom is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent. And you have Los Angeles is, you know, it's amazing. You know, I called, the first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there and I said, I won't be president when it comes, but bad things happened and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics. for 2050, for 250, which is going to be fantastic, and also for the World Cup. So we have a lot of good things, and I hope 250 is going to be the 250th anniversary is going to be the best. But when I looked at those people, and I saw last night on television that they still don't have their permits, it's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.
Thank you. The China tariff deadline is tonight, but do you plan to extend that?
We'll see what happens. China's been, we've been dealing very nicely with China, as you probably have heard. They have tremendous tariffs that they're paying to the United States of America. And we'll see what happens. They've been dealing quite nicely. The relationship is very good with President Xi and myself.
President, you mentioned your upcoming meeting with President Putin. Can
Yeah.
you tell us what you hope to get out of that and whether you consider inviting President Zelensky to join?
So you have to understand, this is a war that should have never happened. This is a war that wouldn't have happened if I were president. Would have never happened. It was the apple of his eye. I got along very well with President Putin. But if you look, under President Bush, they took a lot of territory. Under President Obama, they took a lot of territory. Under Biden, they essentially took the whole thing. You know, it's just a question of time. Under Trump, you know what they took? Nothing. I was the one that said, you can't build your pipeline. That was half built. I came in, I stopped the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. Nobody knows that, you know. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. You might have not even heard of it. Biggest pipeline in the world. I stopped it. I was not a friend of Russia, but I got along well with Putin. It's always good to get along with other countries if possible, but that doesn't mean you roll over like Biden did. Biden came in and he immediately approved the pipeline. I couldn't believe it. Then they say Trump wasn't tough on Russia. I wasn't tough. I was the toughest. Putin said, if you're not tough, I would hate like hell to see you. I stopped the biggest economic development job, the biggest job that Russia had ever built. I stopped it. It was dead. And this low IQ president came in and he let them build the pipeline and supply oil and gas all over Europe, you know? So this is really a feel out meeting a little bit. And President Putin invited me to get involved. He wants to get involved. I believe he wants to get it over with. Now, I've said that a few times, and I've been disappointed because I'd have like a great call with him, and then missiles would be lobbed into Kiev or some other place, and you'd have 60 people laying on a road dying. I said, that's cold. That's cold. But it's a violent war. 5,000 to 7,000 people a week are dying. And you know, there's nobody from here. They're all Russian and Ukrainian people, and some people from the cities, much smaller number, but still, those missiles do damage and they kill a lot of people, but mostly soldiers. And they're young soldiers, although in the case of Ukraine, they're getting much older. They're drafting 60-year-olds now. It's a terrible thing to witness, and I think I have an obligation. Look, this is Joe Biden's war. This is not my war. I made a deal with NATO a month ago. You covered it very accurately, actually. We don't pay anything anymore. You know, we're not paying anything. They are buying things from us, and NATO is paying us. I got it raised from 2% of GDP to 5%. And they're paying us for everything that we send. We're not paying. But Biden approved $350 billion. Europe has spent $100 billion. The money that's been spent and the death is incredible. It's the worst thing that's happened, by far the worst that's happened since World War II. So I'm going in to speak to Vladimir Putin, and I'm going to be telling him, you got to end this war. You got to end it. And he wasn't going to mess with me. This war would have never happened. You know, we had a discussion about it one time, and we never had that discussion again. Would have never happened. And when the election was rigged, and then Biden took office, which was barely took office. The auto pen took office. Bad things started happening. Bad things, stupid things were said. And it ended up in a war. And you know, and I don't believe this will happen anymore because I have that pretty well covered. This could end up in a third world war. This could have been a third world war. I don't think that's going to happen now. But I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third party place. But I think we'll have constructive conversations. Then after that meeting, immediately, maybe as I'm flying out, maybe as I'm leaving the room, I'll be calling the European leaders who I get along with very well. And, I have a great relationship, I think, with all of them. And I get along with Zelensky, but, I disagree with what he's done. Very, very severely disagree. This is a war that should have never happened, wouldn't have happened. But I'll be speaking to Zelensky. The next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need, but I want to have a meeting set up between the two leaders. I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean, he's got approval to go into war and kill everybody, but he needs approval to do a land swap, because there'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody, to the good, for the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff for both. So there's good and there's bad. But it's very complex because you have lines that are very uneven, and there'll be some swapping. There'll be some changes in land. And the word that they will use is, they make changes. We're going to change the lines, the battle lines. Russia's occupied a big portion of Ukraine. They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back for Ukraine. But they've taken some very prime territory. They've taken largely ocean, in real estate, we call it oceanfront property. That's always the most valuable property. If you're in a lake, a river, or an ocean, it's always the best property. Well, Ukraine, a lot of people don't know that Ukraine was largely 1,000 miles of ocean. That's gone. Other than one small area, Odessa, it's a small area. There's just a little bit of water left. So I'm going to go and see the parameters. Now, I may leave and say, good luck, and that'll be the end. I may say this is not going to be settled. I mean, there are those that believe that Putin wanted all of Ukraine. I happen to be one of them, by the way. I think if it weren't for me, he would not be even talking to anybody else right now. But I'm going to meet with him. We're going to see what the parameters are. I'm then going to call up President Zelensky and the European leaders right after the meeting, yeah. And I'm going to tell them what kind of a deal. I'm not going to make a deal. It's not up to me to make a deal. I think a deal should be made for both. I think Russia has to get back into building their country. It's a massive country. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. It's a massive, it's by far, from the standpoint of land, it's by far the largest. They have tremendous potential in Russia to do well. They're not doing well. Their economy is not doing well right now because it's been very well disturbed by this. It doesn't help when the president of the United States tells their largest or second largest oil buyer that we're putting a 50% tariff on you if you buy oil from Russia. That was a big blow. And then they say, gee, he wasn't so tough. Nobody else would have done that. And I haven't stopped there. I mean, look, I was all set to do things far bigger than that, but I got a call that they'd like to meet, and I'm going to see what they want to meet about. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I'd like to see the best deal that could be made for both parties. It takes two to tango, right? So ultimately, I'll have a meeting next week. I had a great relationship with him, considering the fact that, I was not nice to him because of the pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. They say that Obama gave them sheets and I gave them javelins. If it weren't for me, all those tanks that were destroyed at the first days of the war because the tanks got stuck in the mud, some commander made a better. They would have been in Kiev in 4 hours going down the highway. But a Russian general made a brilliant decision to go through the farmland instead. And they just had torrential rains, and the rains were so bad, and it was mud, and those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud, and they went along with the javelins. I gave them the javelins. You know that, right? I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets. But I'm going to meet with President Putin, and we're going to see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first. and then I'll call them after. And I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal. I will tell you this, I've seen a poll coming out of Ukraine. 88% of the people would like to see a deal made. And if you go back 3 years, everybody was gung-ho for war. You know, everybody's gung-ho for war until you have it. It's an amazing thing. I had it with a couple of countries where I couldn't get a deal done with one particular country. And I just couldn't. The guy's great. He's a friend of mine. Great. Good leader. Tough as hell. I couldn't get the deal done. And then he went into war for a short period of time. You know where I'm talking about. First term. And it was nasty. Guys being killed all over the place. And he went through 1 week of war, and I was able to get the deal done. He said, this is nasty. Yes, please.
Yeah, just to follow up on what you were saying there. First of all, Volodymyr Zelensky is not invited on Friday?
He wasn't a part of it. I would say he could go, but he's gone to a lot of meetings. You know, he's been there for 3.5 years. Nothing happened.
And what is the definition?
I mean, do you want somebody that's been doing this for 3.5 years? What's the definition of a good deal? I'll tell you after I hear what the deal is, because there could be many definitions. You know, you're talking about a very large and complex situation. Now, I tell you, the war that I just settled with Azerbaijan and with, as you know, and Armenia was almost as complex as this one, having to do with routes,
Successful
trade.
meeting on Friday with Vladimir Putin.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be
How will
made.
you know that?
Because that's what I do. I make deals.
Mr. President.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, one about China, one about Russia, if I could. On China, your administration agreed to send the most advanced or advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips.
No, obsolete. No.
Obsolete chip. Well, and then 15% of the
You mean
profits
the
come back.
20s? No. This is an old chip that China already has. And I deal with Jensen, who's a great guy, and NVIDIA. The chip that we're talking about, the H20, it's an old chip. China already has it in a different form, different name, but they have it. Or they have a combination of two will make up for it, and even then some. Now Jensen Jensen's a very brilliant guy, and Jensen also has a new chip, the Blackwell. Do you know what the Blackwell is? The Blackwell is super duper advanced. I wouldn't make a deal with that, although it's not enhanced in a negative way, Blackwell. In other words, take 30% to 50% off of it. But that's the latest and the greatest in the world. Nobody has it. They won't have it for 5 years. But the H20 is obsolete. You know, it's one of those things, but it still has a market. So I said, listen, I want 20% if I'm going to approve this for you, for the country, for our country, for the U.S. I don't want it myself. You know, every time I say like 747, I want, yeah, for the Air Force. So I just wanted, so when I say I want 20, I want for the country. I only care about the country. I don't care about myself. And he said, would you make it 15? So we negotiated a little deal. So he's selling a essentially old chip that Huawei has a similar chip, a chip that does the same thing. And I said, good, if I'm going to give it to you, because they have a, they have a stopper, what we call a stopper, not allowed to do it. A restricted, it's really known as a restrictive covenant. And I said, if I'm going to do that, I want you to pay us as a country something, because I'm giving you a release. I released them only from the H20. Now, on the Blackwell, I think he's coming to see me again about that, but that will be a unenhanced version of the big one. Like, I don't know if you know it, we will sometimes sell fighter jets to a country and we'll give them 20% less than we have. You know what I mean, right? That's the same.
So on Russia, do you see a time, Mr. President, when there could be normal trade between the U.S. and Russia? Should the meeting go well? Should there be peace?
I do. Yeah. Russia has a very valuable piece of land. If Vladimir Putin would go toward business instead of toward war, it's a warring nation. That's what they do. They fight a lot of wars. A friend of mine said Russia's tough because they just keep on fighting. They beat Hitler, so did we. And they beat Napoleon. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. I asked a question to a very, very smart man that some people like and some people don't like. Viktor Orban, right? From Hungary, the head of Hungary. And he's in that same area and knows the two countries very well. I said, this was before Biden didn't do anything to get us out of it. He could have gotten us out of that. It would have never happened. I said, so can Russia be beaten by Ukraine? He looked at me like, what a stupid question. He said, Russia is a massive country and they win their country and they win their life through wars. They fight wars. That's what they do. He said, China beats you with trade. Russia beats you with war. It was a very interesting statement. China's not beating us with trade, not when I'm in charge, but they were beating Biden with trade, but they never beat us with trade. Don't forget, China had to pay $400 billion worth of tariffs when I was last time. That was last time. And if we didn't have COVID, all of this stuff we would be loaded. We're finding hundreds of billions of dollars of cash is pouring into our country now because of tariffs. And all we're doing is we're doing what they do to us. It's so beautiful to see it. They found last month, as you saw, $25 billion of excess cash flow. They say, where did it come from? I said, I'll tell you where it came from. It came from a place called tariffs, and we're doing very well. We're really doing well. But I expect to have a meeting with Putin that I think it'll be good, but it might be bad. And I'm here for one reason, to get rid of a war that somebody else started. Should have never happened. And if I could end it, great. Complex war, a lot of bad blood, But Zelensky's been there for 3.5 years. So if you put him in a room, now I will say this, ultimately I'm going to put the two of them in a room. I'll be there or I won't be there. And I think it'll get solved. Yeah, please be Excuse me, I'm going to suggest, because do you have any other questions on DC? Because I don't want them to be, wait. These are incredible people. I don't want them to be standing up here on subjects. Does anybody have a question of them? And then you guys can leave. Okay, a question, Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right.
And by the way, this is only going to end up here all day long.
I agree.
Brian.
I've got two questions for you. First, about DC. This is personal for me as well. Last year, I was robbed on the streets by one of these teenage thugs. Had a gun, got away with it. Let's talk about the effort that between law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges, because it's a recycling belt. Like, these kids go, they don't fear the police. They know it. If you talk about how we've got to get these judges and put these kids behind bars, right. Adult crimes deserve adult penalties. And my second question, I'll have you answer that, please.
You want me to answer?
Whoever it was.
Okay, it's real. Do you want me to answer it? Here's the problem. Assuming that there's 17 years, older than 17 years old, I can get the case. If they're under 18 years of age, I can only get the case if it's murder, rob one, rape, even if they shoot a gun but don't kill you, I can't get it. So the law has to be changed. As the president said, cashless bail, that has to be changed. All right, then even assuming I get the case, I get jurisdiction, I get a conviction, the DC Council has given the judges the ability to give probation on shootings. And so then it's up to them. All of these things, the Youth Rehabilitation Incarceration Reduction Act, and now they want to seal records. So if we work hard, we get a conviction, they want to wipe it out. So that needs all to be changed.
Okay, Mr. Question.
Pam, would you answer that?
Yeah, and just back to that topic. Let's be clear, though. We're going to charge them. And we're going to track every single thing they do throughout every step of the court process and report back to you and let all of you know what's happening to them. Because the people who are prosecuting them, the judges who are trying them, they also need to be held accountable.
Mr. President, this is the most people we've ever seen in this briefing.
I've never seen
ever, right?
I've never seen it. Where's Caroline? Where's my superstar? Caroline. Is Caroline in the back? Where's Caroline? Come here, Caroline. Come here, Caroline. Come here. Is she doing a good job, by the way? Come here. Is this the largest crowd that you've ever seen?
This is definitely the most packed briefing, and I think all of you would agree. I think it's why we need to build a ballroom.
Brian, go ahead.
The question is this: you're building a big, beautiful ballroom.
Yeah.
Could we build a big, beautiful briefing room?
Yes.
Technology,
No.
more seats.
I don't want to do that. I don't want you to be comfortable. So no, I don't want to make life comfortable. So look. Let's just do this. Let's do this. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to Russia. That's going to be a big deal. What happens, happens. I'll let you know what happens. You'll be the first to know. I'll be calling the European leaders. I'm going with totally. I mean, we have a lot of talks. They're great people. They're great leaders, actually, and they want to get back. Honestly, as one of them said, I've OD'd on trying to settle Ukraine. They've OD'd, meaning they've overdosed on the settlement of Ukraine. Not a nice expression, but boy, is it accurate. They're tired of it. They want to get back to spending money on their countries. You know, Biden gave them $350 billion. Europe gave $100 billion. It should be much more than that. Shouldn't have been that kind of, they should have had equalization, but they didn't. But you know what? Still a lot of money. They want to get back to building their own countries. They really want it resolved. My relationship with the European leaders, as you saw, is extremely good. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Wait. And we're going to try. I'll be in touch with them. I have 5 of them call me. You think it's easy? There's a lot of European leaders, but they rely on me. Very much rely on me. If it wasn't for me, this thing would never get solved until the last person breathing is dead. Yeah, I did. I'm talking to them right now. So I'm talking to the European leaders. I'll be talking to President Zelensky. I'm going to get everybody's ideas. I go into that thing fully loaded right up there, and we're going to see what happens. Now, I think one of 2 things is going to happen. It's going to be a good meeting, and we'll go a step further. We'll get it done. I'd like to see a ceasefire very, very quickly. Very quick. I'd like to see it immediately, but I'd like to see it very quickly. And we're going to be dealing with the European leaders, and we're going to be dealing with President Zelensky, and hopefully we're going to have a great success. As far as what we did today, and I think you were here for DC more so than even Russia, because Russia will be, we have a couple of days to go, but the Russia is going to be very interesting. But to me, what is very exciting, and we're going to take back our capital. We're going to make it beautiful again, but we're going to make it, more importantly, safe again. It's going to be so safe. It's going to be a model. And then we'll look at other cities also. But other cities are studying what we're doing. And you have some capable people in other cities. They can do it too. But we have a great group of professionals. We're going to have a safe, beautiful capital, and it's going to happen very quickly. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
How long will the takeover of DC police last?
We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll have another briefing.
We'll see the National Guard on their streets.
All
So, what's up there, retirements beware? All right. Make sure I'm not muted. Let me know if you can hear me. I know you'll let me know if you don't. So, some takeaways from that. All right. I've got the link. I'll go ahead and I'll post the link right back into the comment thread for anybody that wants to get on and have a discussion about it. I'm going to say it like this. This right here, this move by the administration, the last time Donald Trump was in office, his first term, I was a huge Trump supporter. And then I got to realizing that all the horrible, horrible stuff that has happened under his administration. And it wasn't Trump's fault directly. It was who he had in positions of power. It was, the coal was draining the swamp, but the agencies like the Department of Justice were full of swamp monsters. Okay? And so I feel like, honestly, this right here was the latest attempt by the administration, by the Department of Justice, and by the administration to silence my voice. I've already deemed this operation Silence the Press. Okay? I've made it known. I came over here to the Washington, D.C. area to get a hold of the Department of Justice about this massive violation of civil rights. I mean, I was already, an illegal prison sentence was already determined. Like, all this stuff is compounded over the last 8 years. And I've got video after video of them swatting me away like a fly. I have called, I have emailed, I have talked to U.S. attorneys, I've reached out to the FBI. I've been threatened with arrest by the FBI just simply for reporting on the complicity in their visitor parking lot. The day that I filed the federal lawsuit, I went to go bring a sworn declaration up there. This is an institutional problem, okay? And I've made it clear that until the Department of Justice is willing to speak to me about this issue, that I would be willing to camp outside of the Department of Justice in order to redress my grievances, as I have a constitutional right under the First Amendment to do. I mean, I drove across the country. It was that freaking bad. And each video I have at the Department of Justice, they're coming out, and I could just be saying, "Hey, excuse me, sir," and cut their eyes the other way and walk off. Will not respond. There's been a bulletin that's been passed around the Department of Justice. That much I'm certain, because they've told their people to not speak to me when they come out of the Department of Justice building, which has led to me calling it, letting the individuals know about their direct complicity, silences complicity, and ultimately the culpability. Now, it's not the Department of Justice, it's the Department of Corruption. I've mentioned that many a times, okay, as more and more people come out and completely just stonewall. In fact, I think that actually right now, this is the perfect broadcast to actually present this stuff. Let me load the video file right here of the last couple of times. It's actually the last time at the Department of Justice outside of it is right here. Check this out. All right. This. So
I've got folding chair on my left. I've got the tripod on my right. Backpack. I'm ready for the long haul today. You know, the one thing I forgot to bring with me, damn it, the one thing I forgot to bring with me was the cardboard sign. The Jeff Gray cardboard sign, God bless the homeless vets. I sure would have stood out here with that sucker today. Bonjour. Hey, Charlene. Let's set this up right here. It's gonna be a long day today, fellas. Long day today. Very interesting. We're gonna get to know each other very, very well today. Good morning, fellow freedom fighters. I'm here outside of the Department of Corruption, the United States Department of Corruption. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. Drop a comment. Share this stream out. Let's get over 1,000 people on it again. All over the place. I'm over here at the Department of Corruption over in Washington, D.C. We got about, I would say a couple of hours until lunch, but you know, these people, they're going to take the lunch early and then take it till late. So I figure about another hour, about 11 o'clock, they'll start piling out, going to their long lunches because they don't do anything as far as fighting corruption and injustices. What's up there, Bernie Mac? Oh, we are doing some exposing today. 114 watching, cool. Hey, give me I can't see the live count streaming right here from Switchers. So give me updates on what the count gets to. Let me know if it gets like when it gets to 500. Let me know when it gets to 1,000. Share this stream. How is what legal? Yeah, Facebook is is the most shadow banned social media that I have. Who is this guy? You got to go through searches and seizures, sir. We got to make it equal for all. Searches and seizures for everybody. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Everybody move to your left. Rotate, rotate. At the Department of Corruption. This is where it all stems. I mean, the absolute evil behind these walls is incredible. Hey, mods that are on here, take off the trolls. You know what to do. I'd like to speak to a U.S. attorney. I know y'all are going to stonewall me again. This is the Department of Corruption, of course. I'd like to speak to a U.S. attorney about civil rights issues. I would like to see the Epstein files. I need to fix the time. On my camera. Right now it's saying that it is 8:30 at night on August the 6th. I'm not harassing the security guards. I'm sitting outside of the Department of Justice waiting for somebody to get off their ass and talk to me. Yeah, shake your head, clown. I do have the right to. I have the right to take anybody off. Try using the First Amendment or the Constitution on me on my YouTube account. I'm telling you idiots on here that try to say that you know I have to let trolls stay on here and say whatever. You're wrong. You're very wrong. Yes, the same ones that have said fuck my freedom of speech and fuck my rights for the last 8 years. You're very wrong about that. So, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. So, you know, I'm not letting the trolls have a platform for their voice on my platform. You can have a platform for your voice anywhere you want to go except for this channel. That's basically the way that we're going to run things from now on. Until things change, that's the way that we're going to run things. If you can't beat them, join them. Waiting on somebody to talk to me. Nobody wants to talk to me. Everybody wants to sit on their ass in the Department of Justice and not do shit except be a part of the corruption. Thank you, Joseph. If anybody also, hey, just throwing this out there as a suggestion, okay? You see the gear I've got? If anybody wants to kick in a little cash, I'll go get a loudspeaker and put a loudspeaker out here on the sidewalk. Oh, what do we got here? I need somebody to speak to me about major civil rights issues, not be part of the damn problem. Part of the problem. You don't pay my bills. I don't give a shit what you say about me begging for money. No, I asked if anybody wants to chip in, I'll get a loudspeaker and put it out here on the sidewalk. Might even get a big display and start showing some videos of all the things the Department of Justice has sat quiet and refused to address or played a part of. This is what petitioning the government for redress of grievances looks like. Sounds good, Charlene. Thank you. Yeah, just hey, send me an email at news@wtpnews.org. Is the easiest way to get in touch with me. And I can exactly. Traveling to different places is not cheap. Fighting for our rights is not cheap. Our freedom does not come free. Believe it or not, there are a lot of sacrifices for our freedoms. I need to speak with somebody about major civil rights issues. I drove.
I'll be right back. Stay right there. I'll be right back.
Okay. Somebody said he'll be right back. I mean, I'm going to be here all day, so it's not like if that was a... So this is what... So, all right, let me go back to this real quickly. I didn't know if that video was going to play or not. All right, this is where I like to say that everything started back in 2017, but it actually started a little bit before this. It actually started at the end of April 2017 when I made a FOIA request into the Marine Corps for records that it was a cover-up. And I had to actually issue a final demand letter stating that I was going to sue them in 24 hours. I had an attorney sitting right next to me. Got all the email correspondence. If the records weren't turned over, they turned over the records the very next morning just for me to have been, just for a fictitious charge to have been made up and me to be ambushed, arrested just hours later. And I always thought it linked back to this video I'm about to show you right here. But actually, I have reason to believe it was a lot more than just this video that was the cause of this. This is the start.
You know, I am audio and video recording, Mr. Brick. Ass watches back. Y'all see that? Hey, what's your badge number, by the way? You Brick? No, I'm not. I was leaving.
Okay, I didn't realize that I was on mute whenever I was kind of talking about all that. Turn this camera around. So, for the longest time, I thought that this chain reaction of corruption in North Mississippi that spiraled out of control started with that, May 1st, 2017. It was a crazy unlawful arrest that went viral on the internet. But I actually have reason to believe that it was a lot more than that. See, what happened was at the end of April, 5 days, it was actually April 26th, 2017. I had a FOIA request into the Marine Corps at Quantico, Virginia. There was a cover-up that had happened, and I was requesting records to show the cover-up, to unveil the truth on all of that, because it personally affected me, being a Marine Corps veteran. I had an attorney by the name of Charles Yao, and on May 25th, 2017, I sent a final demand letter to Quantico. They were well past their deadline for turning over the records, and I gave them 24 hours to turn over the stuff, or I was going to file suit. And I had the attorney ready to go. We were ready to go. The next morning, May 26th at like 10 o'clock in the morning, get an email saying that the records have been approved for full release. Hours after that, I get ambush arrested in a bullshit, completely fictitious, made-up felony charge by Lafayette County, state of Mississippi, claiming that on or before May 8th, 2017, that I put these bar owners in fear of their life with an AR-15 that I didn't even have. There was no weapon. The entire charge was completely made up. It was completely. There was money and favors that changed hands, I can guarantee you that. And I thought that all that had linked 100% back to the May 1st arrest that I just showed you. And now everything's starting to add up, and it's become clear that it's more than just that May 1st arrest. They were indemnifying themselves from a whole hell of a lot more. And what's so convenient here in all of this is that you have Marine Corps headquarters, Quantico, Virginia, that was given the 24-hour notice of violation to turn over the records or they were going to get sued. And guess who else stems out of Quantico, Virginia? The FBI. The FBI Training Academy is down in Quantico. And so what I think we have happened here, especially when you look at the more recent things that have happened about how the FBI has completely ignored their duties, including these people right here, the Department of Justice, okay? Because the FBI is the investigatory arm of the Department of Justice. The U.S. attorneys, of course, are the prosecuting arm. And what I think happened, what I think is clear that happened, is that you have some kind of communication took place back in 2017 where, I sat down with the FBI about everything that happened in Lafayette County on May 25th. And conveniently, the 302 investigative report ended up disappearing. I sat with two agents about the massive civil rights violations that had occurred, and that 302 investigative report somehow grew two legs and disappeared. Let's see. And then we have the latest stuff, which is outside of the governor's mansion when there's been so many things that have happened. These are just recent videos that I have. I've cleared out my memory on my phone of just about everything else. But let's look at this. Up. Those videos are not working. Let me see. Go over here. I've cleared most of these videos off of my phone. Yeah, all this is We the People's property. Now, inside of that gate, huh?
Go across the street with that sign and all that, okay?
Well, no, I'm fine right here.
No, you're not fine.
How am I not?
Because I said you are.
I'm on the sidewalk.
Yeah, one more time.
I'm on the.
Get your stuff. They go to fuck across the street. You understand me?
Do you know what the First Amendment is?
I don't give a fuck with the
What's your name? What's your name? What's your name and badge number? Tyrant? What's your name and badge number? I have a First Amendment right to be on the sidewalk. I'm on the fucking sidewalk. I'm on the fucking sidewalk. Do something about it.
Hey, man. Get your shit. Go.
Hey, you're gonna get away from me. You're gonna get away from me. Put your hands on me.
Get the fuck on if I knock you.
Oh!
Fuck on, whoa. Fuck on with you. We tell you that, man.
Hey, let's de-escalate.
Fuck you think I'm playing with you, man?
Hey.
Fuck off.
I don't care if y'all talk to me or not. Just making yourselves look horrible. I want charges on him. I want charges on him now. 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 Up. There's something seriously wrong with you. What the fuck are you gonna do about it? What are you doing to him? He doesn't need to even be here anymore. Send his ass home. After that right there, I'm standing where I can stand at. I'm standing where I can stand at. It's your fucking ass. Hey, I want his name and badge number. What's his name? I need name and badge numbers of all y'all. Name and badge number. Name and badge number. Name and badge number.
My supervisor asked you to step away from
Name and badge number.
You asked for a supervisor, we gave you one.
Hey, I need a name and badge number. I need a name and badge number.
Back off.
Name and badge number.
Back off. Back off.
White?
White. Now back off.
So that was more recently at the governor's mansion in Mississippi, July 3rd. To this day, they've still kept the trooper's name concealed, even though violence. That was a violent attack in the presence of his supervisor and 2 other Mississippi state troopers. Yet, the governor has stayed silent. They've kept his name concealed. It's not even like the trooper was trying to arrest me for committing some crime. The trooper had it in his mind that he was going to commit violence that day against an individual peacefully exercising their rights. If I had committed any crimes, he would have been trying to place me under arrest. That was on here. Can you actually condone violence being committed against somebody? Because if your answer is yes, when it happens to you, which it will, that's exactly what that brings about, then I don't want to hear your bitching. Let's listen to a song real quick in the meantime while waiting to see what all happens. This is a song that I wrote a couple of weeks ago. It's called Scandalous. Because this is, I've been dealing with a lot of scandalous ass shit in my life.
You're walking this crowded path now. Turning love into a weapon. Ready, resources on the plate. He's singing at the lane. It ain't good to
Waiting to speak to somebody from civil rights. We can stand out, we can do this all day. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Smart ass. It's fucking funny, isn't it? I just figured we would turn this into a watch session. You know, I'm not wasting time. I'm staying out here until something gets done about this shit. Let's see. Those on here talking shit, hey, you're the ones out here that are, you're the ones wasting time watching it. Let me see. So, we had, so I met up with, some big people over the last few days. Okay, I went to New York and New Jersey, Connecticut, saw Long Island Audit, Leroy Truth, Full Court Press, John Felix. Let's see. Actually, whenever I got down there, well, behind the scenes look right there, Leroy Truth. Let's see. See what else I got that I haven't cleared off my phone yet. Actually, photos. Boom. Boom. So we got John Felix right there. Let's see. We went out to dinner after all of that to a nice Italian restaurant.
Officer Jake Chen, please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Messages from Mr. Bello and Shane. This is Barry McCockiner, calling from the Salt Lake Citizens for Common Sense Prosecution. I just had a quick question for you. How in the ever-loving hell is that Matthew Reardon fellow still clinging to this appeal like a tick on a bloodhound? I mean, if half the stuff he's filing is true, that would make your office look like it's as competent as a spring door on a subway. Look, I'm just trying to wrap my head around how this man's got more lives than a stray cat, more filings than a DMV, and still manages to paint himself like some kind of First Amendment freedom fighter when he sounds more like broke-ass Alex Jones with a grudge. If y'all ain't gonna shut the circus down, can you at least send in the clowns? Because right now, the whole way, give me a holler back if you feel like clearing up the mystery. Barry McCockiner. Yes, that's my real name. Don't laugh too more. The number's on the file. God bless.
Yeah. So about all that, I've got an appeal in the Mississippi Court of Appeals, in the appellate courts. Massive due process violations. They have, I've been denied counsel. I mean, if I didn't know, if I didn't have a good understanding
Sorry about that. I
of
didn't realize it was a
the
screen
law
recording that I had done. I thought 2000.
I would have been in a very tough
Did I
bind
provide my new
right there.
latent address?
The fact is,
to any law enforcement agency,
I filed a
including but not
30-something
limited
page
to the latent
appellate brief
Hey, sir, how's it going?
What's
on
going
the
on?
on the matters,
I'm gonna have to ask for
which
your
I mean,
otherwise you'll
it's
get charged with
blatantly
trespassing.
clear
I'm going to get charged with trespassing,
that
being on public on
it
on
was
You're
public
not on
property.
public property. This is
corruption
private property.
run
The
wild
FBI
on
is
that one in
private
Lafayette
property. No,
County,
this is actually a park.
and it was so blatant
No,
and
so
clear
yeah, but we own this.
that the state. For those on here, this is called Unbroken. Okay, I just put out an album called. Bad Actors. I wrote all 15 songs on the album. This is the story of my life right here over the last 8 years. That brings me here to the Department of Justice. Okay, you want to know why I'm standing out here on the sidewalk at the Department of Justice? Why I'm letting my voice be heard? Listen to the words of this song. Actually, truly listen to the words of this song.
They broke the chains, but I walked out free. Every scar they carved just empowered me. 2017, Lafayette's chokehold grip. Sheriff's badge turned to a power trip. Mississippi flag in my righteous hand. Public sidewalk where free citizens stand. Timmy Pruitt rolled up with manufactured rage. No permit, lies wrapped me in the cage. Asked for his badge number. Exercise my right. They cuffed me up in broad Mississippi daylight. Video went viral, whole county shook. They fired back with a felony book. False stalking charge, legal masquerade. All to indemnify the mess they made. 2018, November's bitter frost. Lizzie Crowder, weaponized what mattered most. Filed false rape, turned love to a courtroom game. 2 years grinding through manufactured shame. 2020, she pled out, escaped the cell. Paid her fine while my world went to hell. Support for Lydia suddenly flipped and betrayed. 4 years lost, no father-daughter serenade. No bedtime stories, no calls relayed. Just silence where our laughter used to cascade. December 2021, the storm returned. Alcorns writ while Lafayette bridges burned. Joey East crew snatched me ice cold. No evaluation, no facts, no lawful hold. Tupelo's walls, padded bed confinement. North Miss meds clouding my mental alignment. February 22, they came once more. Alcorns fabrications walked through the door. Newborn son in the ER sacred light. They cuffed me up, stole that holy night. 7 days in solitary's concrete cave. Then East Miss pharmaceuticals to enslave. June 2020, 22, walked through the hall. Oxford City standing dignified and tall. Camera rolling, made a clerk request. Public records, constitutional quest. But they twisted it, spun their narrative line. Mayor claimed fear to blur the constitutional line. Dusted off that restraining order from 17. Weaponized fresh for a felony scene. Charged with stalking for walking through City Hall. For asking questions, for standing up tall. October 22, I fought the machine again. Marched the FBI, laid truth before federal men. Oxford office, evidence carefully laid. But Beavers and Kilpatrick sharpened their blade. November 1st, revoked my parole. November 3rd, they They swallow me whole, kill Patrick campaign, riding on my back, use my persecution to advance her political track. Prison walls, months carved in stone, paid the price, stood defiant alone. August 23, Galveston, suffocating heat, journalist on assignment, working the street. Allstein's traffic stop, perfectly staged night. False default, we are charged, no sobriety test in sight. 11 months buried, holding my breath, extradited back to face judicial death. July 24, kangaroo court show, 2-year sentence with zero proof to show. But January 25, post-conviction win. January 22nd, I walk free again. February 1st, Utah's deceptive call. Latent ground, but predatory eyes on all. Sesames reached across state lines, spinning webs with defamatory signs. Rich and spread poison wide. Warring 39 names caught in their slanderous tide. Orrington blocked, grammar's light. Latent city officials dimmed constitutional sight. March 28th, I dialed that phone. City hall reception, cold as stone. March 31st, face federal walls. Salt Lake City, where justice calls. They demanded ID, background inspection. I said no. Constitutional protection took my place. Circled my car, still went live, raised awareness far. But the cruelest wound that still remains, Crowder's war, these invisible chains. Lydia's voice, 4 years stolen away. No good night hugs, no Father's Day. Mother and daughter separated by lies. While I break through these court-constructed skies. Filed lawsuits, align the names. Sesames, McCutcheon, their corruption games. Arrington Shield, Layton's wall. Oxford's influence, spanning it all. For Lydia's future, for truth's bright flame, for everything stolen, for clearing my name. This is the anthem, the reckoning beat. Stripped to silence, back on my feet. This ain't over, this is the ascension. Next verse I drop breaks through that dimension. From Lafayette's mud to Galveston's bars, to Layton's walls and federal scar. Yes, I'm the voice they try to silence through fear, but I'm amplified now, crystal clear.
All that true stuff, 100% happened, 100% backed by evidence and facts. It's on WTPnews.org, okay? And a lot more than that has happened. You know, there at the end of that song was talking about Salt Lake City and, you know, what happened with Oxford. Had a rogue police captain as soon as I moved out to Layton, Utah, after my illegal prison sentence getting vacated, declared unlawful, and me released. I moved out to Layton, Utah. And within a matter of a couple of days of moving out there, this rogue police captain from the Oxford, Mississippi Police Department, Hilden Sesames, decided that he was going to run illegal interstate surveillance on me. I found that out through public record request. I ended up filing a lawsuit March 31st on everything because my information, my private information, got doxed out to 139 law enforcement officers. And it's, I mean, just completely unfair. So I went up to the FBI after I filed the lawsuit, all right? And this is what happened.
Backwards on this.
Here. Sorry about that. I didn't realize it was a screen recording that I had done. I thought this was actually the downloaded video, but I had screen recorded it to actually find these parts.
Did I provide my new Layton address?
I forgot all about, I didn't realize that I had, that wasn't the full video right there. Let's see. And I thought I had, It's looking. Should have had the and maybe this is the full. I'm not sure if this is the full meeting or not. Let me see. No. I'm gonna throw the full video of all the auditors speaking out at sorry about that. I didn't realize my mic was muted. I'm gonna put so this was the other day in Groton, Connecticut. I'm gonna be putting the full video of all the auditors speaking out. I had taken this, I had shortened this into a short and put on the YouTube channel for those that have not seen it yet. In regards to Sean Paul Reyes of Long Island Audit being spit on by a wretched, dirty, vile animal, Sergeant Brian Fahey, who's now retired from the Connecticut State Troopers.
Good evening, council members, mayor, and fellow Americans. I'm not here tonight to cause a scene. I'm here because the line has been crossed, and that line was spit on, stomped on, and violated by a disgraced and now retired Connecticut State Trooper, Sergeant Fahey. Last month, Sean Paul Reyes of Long Island Audit, First Amendment auditors, a man holding the camera, placing the rights guaranteed under the Constitution. What happened next? Nothing. No arrests. Crimes on camera and walk away clean. But this is not how it's supposed to be. We have three branches of government for a reason. When the courts won't act, you don't work for the state police. You don't answer to bad cops. You answer to the people. And the people are watching. The nation is watching. And the world is watching to see if Groton has a fine. So I ask you to defend the First Amendment. Thank you. We're going to take a recess now. We're going to take a recess and continue. If people continue to go over their time, which is.
Oh. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Before I put that video on, I didn't realize that it was. I gotta start checking that more. I tend to. Whenever I play video, I hit the mute button and then I forget that I had it muted. Sometimes. So, let me turn this around. What are those weird things? Hey, I just got the, Shar, if you're on here, thank you for the Cash App. I just got the Cash App from you. Thank you for that. Much love. Appreciate that. Got to stand up for them. You don't stand up for them, especially whenever things are being done to you. If you don't stand up for them, these people aren't going to just, take it on themselves to stand up for them. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. No justice, no peace. Right now, it's peaceful. Like to speak to somebody in the Civil Rights Division? Yeah, you're part of the problem. Part of the problem. Thank you, Charlene. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what that's the number one thing that that is the number one thing that I at this point my life has been catastrophically ruined by the corruption and the degradation of our rights. I mean, that's if we don't, you have to stand firm for them now, because every generation that passes, they get it's like more and more gets eroded. And if this can be looked at and condoned and allowed, I would like to speak with a U.S. attorney, somebody in the Department of Justice. Silence is complicity. You are culpable. The Department of Justice is not the Department of Justice. It is the Department of Corruption. Great to see this is how the Department of Justice treats veterans. Serve their country. They gaff them off. Ignore them. Jim Jordan's office? Yeah, and I've actually got a letter that's been sent to I'd like to speak with somebody about major civil rights issues. I traveled across the country to speak with somebody at the Department of Justice. Your silence is culpability. This is how the Department of Corruption treats veterans. Yeah. True patriots need to come together over here in Washington. Something needs to be done about this shit. Words ain't going to change it. It's going to take a lot more than words to get the attention of the Department of Corruption right here. Hell yeah. What's up there, Jeff? Jeff? Got the band hammer. Now, over here at the Department of Corruption, these motherfuckers wouldn't know righteous if it hit them in the face. Hey, the J6ers, January 6th happened because of shit like this. The Department of Justice can take an inner look and thank themselves for things like that happening. And you know what? It needs to happen again. Clearly, the J6ers should have organized outside of the Department of Justice and done it there. Everybody needs to just group up and push past these fake rent-a-cops and go into the Department of Justice. Demand accountability. Freedom! They got Pelosi, $350 million filed to show corruption. What is Break that down for me. What happened? Hey, if I tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Join room. Invite remote guest. Copy. Boom. Oh yeah. Invite remote guests. Hey, Jeff. Well, and I hope it doesn't knock me off of here when I do this, and I have a feeling that it will. I'm trying to see. Damn it. I 100% believe that it will kick me off of here. I would like to speak with somebody in the Department of Justice. Invite guest. I'm going to attempt it. All right, if it knocks me off of here, it's going to knock me off of here. There's nothing I can do about that. And if it does, I'll just go back live. But I've just opened up. I've just turned on the room. If anybody wants to come up here live, if you know what, on second thought, I'm going to rescind that. I was going to post the link in the chat to let anybody come on here. That's probably not a good idea. Should probably be vetted. Oh, I got a lot to beef about. I got 8 years of beef to beef about. 8 years of it, and these people standing down not doing a motherfucking thing. Y'all hit that like button. Go ahead and double tap the screen for me. Hit that like button. I'd like to speak to somebody in there. I've driven across the country, major civil rights violations, and nobody's wanting to speak to me. You working there, right? So, I mean, it's not funny. Somebody's civil rights being violated is not a funny, laughing matter, ma'am. You think that's funny? It's not happening to you? What a joke. There's another one. Silent, complicit, culpable. We're going to take this to the FBI building next. Oh, I know. They're guilty of sin, and they know they're guilty of sin. That's why they all are silent. Nobody will say a thing. They all think it's a joke because they know what's happening. See, I'm over here peacefully. But when they bring the violence out because of staying silent and refusing to deal with the issue, it's going to, you know, Shut up. Shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid. People walk across here all the time. Shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid. Shut up. People walk across here constantly. Shut up, stupid. I've been watching all day. People have been walking across, but it's a problem when I do it. Shut up, stupid. Take your ass on. You want to do something, go get somebody to talk to me. Otherwise, I'm going to stay my ass out here as long as I fucking can. And I'll be damned if you tell me I can't walk across this fucking path when everybody else does it. I don't need to hear your fucking mouth. No. They're about to see a lot more than being a douche. No, fuck that. 8 years of this bullshit. Don't tell me how to fucking act. Don't tell me I shouldn't be mad. I drove across the country because these criminals have refused to address the main issue. No, there's no being nice at this point. I've been ignored for far too long. It's fucking funny, isn't it? It's fucking funny, isn't it? It's fucking funny, isn't it?
Step over there.
Fuck you.
Step over there.
No. Eat my dick.
Whip it out. Move. I need you to move, sir.
You walked into it. What are you going to do? Yeah. No, I completely know that. But them laughing about it, them smirking about it, I know they don't have shit to do with what the Department of Justice is doing, but them smirking about it, I bet I would talk to people in charge like that. I have talked to people in charge like that because they're not doing their fucking job. Respect is earned. I've got plenty of lawsuits going right now as it is. I don't need another one. I'm not trying to bait another one. I've got more than enough on my plate. I'm looking for justice and accountability. I'm not trying, once again, I'm not trying to bait a lawsuit. I don't need another one. I've got plenty on my plate. I want justice and accountability. That's the only two things that I want. So then I don't need to be told stupid things like I can't walk across a path that everybody else has been walking across all day. How about that? I've been waiting for somebody. That's not going to stop. Hey, Jeff, take these motherfuckers off the stream, please. Dream Colored, get him off of here. Gone. Brandy, gone. I'm not going to see that kind of nonsense. You know, The Department of Justice. The United States Department of Justice. I've got a family to support. You know what? I can't until I get justice. I literally, every single place, because of what these criminals have done. I'm a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and I am unemployable because of what North Mississippi has done, they've gotten away with. The proof is in the pudding. Illegal prison sentence vacated January 21st of this year. Multi-state conspiracy. Lawsuit going on. But you know what? That doesn't fix all the pieces shattered on the ground because of everything. And the Department of Justice refuses to come in and hold these people accountable. You know what? I'm turning off the chat. I'm not even looking at the fucking chat anymore. Jeff, mods, y'all take care of it. I'm not even looking at it. This is a good song for the moment right here.
Folk dogs get arrested just for showing the love, but who draws the lines? Who reaps the fines? I seen the smirk on the sheriff's face when the truth got close and he tried to erase the footage, the facts. The First Amendment's light, now we bring it back raw, uncut, full fight. Silence ain't consent, we speak, we rise, we march, flash your name, play it. Private lives on tape, they dox you fast, spread lies with class and prosecute your truth while they cover their tracks. The mayor's in the shadows, the cops pull strings, every courthouse door got political wings, and the journalist bleeds, not with guns but ink. It stains the dirt where their conscience sinks. It's all government ain't consent, we speak, we rise, we march, flashing lights, steel cuffs, behind the bars, doxing our names, playing dirty in the dark, but we pen our painted verses. This is where it starts. Silence ain't consent, we fight, we bleed, we fight. Every set of steps, the bullet ain't to bring the light. North Mississippi got us all brewing tight. This one's for the scribes in the shadows of the night. North Mississippi, you try to kill the pen, but you forged the sword when you jailed these men. Every silence you forced now shouts from the grave. Every lie you told now births the brave. This is bigger than one, it's a nationwide call. You bury the truth, we tear down the wall. We right through the raids, the threats, the shame. Your courthouse steps gon' remember the name. You can break bones, but the signal's lit. The file's alive, and the people won't quit. So when the boots march in and the sky turns red, know the revolution's voice ain't never been dead. Just burn so tight. Every word you've been to.
I need to speak with somebody in the Department of Justice. Your silence is complicity. It's criminal.
Thought the court would live blood and fire. Left me shackled with the blame. But tonight the winds are changing. Justice breathes its warning low.
I need to speak with somebody in the Department of Justice. Your silence is criminal and controlling.
And I can feel it in the shadows tonight.
I see you got a badge. I need to speak with somebody about major civil rights violations. Your silence is criminal. Y'all are part of the problem. You know that, right? Marine Corps veteran. This is how y'all treat the veterans. Piece of shit.
Alex Crowder's path now. Turning love into a weapon. I dropped everything, 6 hours on the road, just to hold my babies, lighten up the load.
Thank you for calling. If you have finished, press the pound.
Are you on TikToking?
You know, whatever bulletin the DOJ passed around telling y'all to ignore me, I will get it. FOIA request. The FOIA request is going in. Y'all cannot hide that shit. %, they passed a bulletin around. Every goddamn person coming out here is ignoring the fuck out of me. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to publish it far and wide.
Are we allowed to film it? Okay. Sorry.
Whatever the DOJ has told y'all about ignoring me, I came across the country with civil rights matters. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Goddamn bitch. Fuck. Film all the criminals coming out. I'm going to film all the criminals coming out of the DOJ, the Department of Corruption. You can't make me leave. I'm on a public sidewalk. Yeah, nice try, loser. Whose dick did you have to suck to get this job? Look at this fucking hero right here. These are the true sovereign citizens right here. The true sovereign citizens.
On the live stream for the Schmidt.
Yeah, no, and it's like between seasons, like really a different resolution.
Oh, look. Can't blow up my camera. It's prior restraint. You should know this. Get your supervisor out here right fucking now. I need to speak with somebody in there with the Civil Rights Division. You don't know anybody, but you work in there. But you work in there. So the bulletin that the Department of Justice has passed around telling people to ignore me, I'm going to get that on FOIA. 100%.
Nice day, son.
You too. Yeah. Yeah. A Marine Corps veteran travels around the fucking country to come get justice, to come get somebody to actually pay attention and do something about the civil rights violations, and it's a goddamn joke, right? Take your ass walking. Step the fuck on. I'm going to be out here every single day. You can't make me leave. You're not going to get rid of me. So the best thing you can do is get somebody to talk to me. Quit treating it like a goddamn joke.